Hey guys, James Laney here. Uh, going to have a short video for you tonight, and we're just going to discuss some of the pros and cons of your pro shooter, sponsored shooter versus your amateur shooter. And before we get into that, if you like my channel and you like my content, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Should be a little button down over here in this corner that you can click on, and it should subscribe you to my channel. Really appreciate if you do that. Um, so let's talk about your pro shooters and your amateur shooters. What makes a pro shooter a pro shooter? So in my mind, your pro shooter or your sponsored shooter is somebody that profits from the shooting sports in some form or fashion. Um, so that's going to be either people that work in the industry or shooters that are sponsored by companies within the industry. Um, and I'm not talking about Billy Bob in South Arkansas that's sponsored by his cousin that's a gunsmith, something like that. I'm talking about people that are sponsored by bigger companies, big brand names of the sport. Um, so we all see these shooters. They're wearing the jerseys with the patches, and they're representing a product. Um, so what made me think of this? What made me think of this is I've started shooting Still Challenge here recently, and in shooting Still Challenge, I'm seeing I don't have a name in that sport like I'm known better in F class. So I'm looking at these people and I'm talking to some of these people, and they don't know me from anybody. So it's been interesting just to see what kind of products they recommend, what kind of products they're pushing. And obviously, a lot of sponsored shooters are going to push the products that they're promoting. I mean, makes sense, right? It's kind of what they're getting paid to do. So, as an amateur shooter in this sport, when you start talking to these people, what can you trust? Um, you know, are they just promoting a product that they're being sponsored to shoot? They're either looking at some of my previous sponsorships. I've been paid in cash, I've been paid in product. What I try to do with my sponsors is I don't want to represent a sponsor that I wouldn't pay for out of my own pocket. A great example of that would be Nightforce Scopes. I would be using their scopes whether I was sponsored by them or not sponsored by them because I love their scope. I think they're the best scopes out there. And some of my other sponsors are really great, and I'd be using their product whether I was sponsored with them or not sponsored with them. So, just the fact that I can be sponsored by a company that I really do fully stand behind is a great opportunity, and some of the other great opportunities of being a sponsored shooter is, I get to try lots of new products before they hit the market. And, that's another thing that gives your sponsored shooters an edge sometimes is they're getting to play with products that are not on the market. They're not available to everybody else sometimes. So, um, just looking at this from an amateur position, and you're talking to these guys that are representing products. They've obviously, a lot of these, they're being sponsored for any number of reasons. They could be sponsored because they know the right people. They could be sponsored because they're a great shooter. They could be sponsored because um, they've been in the sport for a long time. They're great ambassadors of the sport. And none of those are bad reasons. I've had sponsorships because of all those reasons. And, when people come and ask me my opinion on things, I try to give them a true opinion. I try to tell them what I always like about a product. I try to tell them what I dislike about a product. And, if you get somebody that tells you nothing but praise about a product, be leery of that because there's cons to everything. No matter how great the product is, there's a con to it. I promise you. So, if you're talking to one of these shooters that are sponsored by something that you're interested in and they don't tell you anything but the good stuff, watch out for that, because all products have a con to it. There's always a plus and a minus to everything out there. There's always give and take. So, like I said, just be leery when you talk to the shooters that are representing a specific product, because they're trying to get you to buy that product either through the sponsorship or working for that company, or whatever their motivation is for that. So, like I said, everybody kind of has an opinion about this. Anybody that's in any kind of a shooting sports come across pro shooters, tell me in your comments down here below. Write what you think about it. Tell me what your experience has been with that. Did you go buy a product that one of these pro shooters recommended you, and then you turn around and find out, hey, that product's crap? In the high power shooting business, I've always tried to recommend products that I fully back and would recommend, or products that I use myself. Generally, if I, in Steel Challenge, I'm just getting started in it, and I'm not using top of the line equipment. I'm using pretty nice equipment, but I'm not no expense spared yet into that sport. Where when I look at F class, my equipment is a no expense spared. I shoot the best equipment that I believe there is, because I want to compete at that top level. So, most amateur shooters, whether you're getting into it to shoot just for fun, that's why a lot of us do this. It's fun, and we want to do it for fun. Even your sponsor shooters, it's a job for some of them. Some of them, they like doing it. It's a great job to have. But a lot of the sponsor shooters, it's just kind of a nice side perk, right? But like I said, just kind of watch when you start asking sponsored shooters for their opinions on equipment that they represent, because you may not always get 100% the truth. You may get a sales pitch, so take the person that you're talking to into consideration when you're trying to evaluate equipment. Some of this equipment's expensive. Some of it's thousands of dollars, and you want to make a good purchase. I'm not made of money. Most of us aren't made of money. So, we have to, get people's opinions, because some of this equipment's not always easy to find. Sometimes you can't always play with that piece of equipment or try that piece of equipment out before you buy it. So, you're taking reputable people, or people that you think are reputable, and making a decision on your, based off of their opinion for that purchase. So, like I said, be sure you're asking the right people the right questions. Ask about the downsides to it, because there ain't a piece of equipment out there that I can't say that there's a downside to. Even the equipment that I represent, and to be fully transparent with anybody that talks to me in the future, my sponsorships change, sponsorships come and go. I'm currently sponsored by Night Force Optics. I'm currently sponsored by Sierra Bullets, Kelbley's Actions, Bartline Barrels, are most of my sponsors right now. Like I said, next week I may have some different sponsors, but I've had most of these sponsors for years. I use all of their products because I think their products are the best. Do they all have downsides? Yes, they all absolutely have downsides. But I don't think there's a better product on the market, and that's why I use them in F class. Now, Steel Challenge, it's a little different for me. I'm experimenting with new equipment, and I'll have a new video coming up. I just bought a Vorkwartsen Scorpion X, so I'll be doing a video on that very shortly. And I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. So, there's some companies out there that are great that I'm not sponsored by, and I fully endorse their products. One of those companies is Vortex Optics. You know, I've tried to get them to be a sponsor for me for a couple of years, and you know, they're kind of a tight knit group. So, and I haven't been able to ever pick up that sponsor, but you know, I still fully recommend a lot of their optics. And why is that? Because I think their optics are a great optic for the price, and their warranty is just unbeatable. You know, I've used their warranty a couple of times because some of their scopes are not built like tanks. You know, some of their scopes are built like tanks, but some of them are not. You know, some of the more budget price scopes. But you know, in Still Challenge, I'm using some of their red dots, and I really like them. And like I said, their warranty is just hard to beat, so I can endorse that. So like I said, this was going to be just a quick video, and I just want you to think about this when you guys go out, you're shooting, you're looking at the guns people are shooting, you're looking at holsters or optics, ammunition. You know, the bags they carry, the bags they use. Any of that stuff, you know, when you're trying to make a purchase for yourself and decide what equipment you want to use, you know, and you talk to these people, just, you know, be smart about it. Ask them the right questions. Don't start out with, hey, how do you like that? Start out with, hey, what do you not like about that? Because chances are, if there's something that they don't like about it, you're probably not going to like it either. You know, the question is that something you can live with or not? If not, you go on to the next product. So, like I said, if you like my videos, please subscribe. My little rant, I'll bring it to an end right now, and you know, watch some of my other videos, and I'll have some new tests on some stuff coming out. I'll have that with Quartz and Scorpion X probably here within the next week or less, hopefully. Like I said, if there's anything that you guys want to see, put it down in the comments, and I'll look at it and see if I can't get to it at some point. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good evening.